His name was Billy the Kid. They say he was a cold-blooded killer, a sharpshooter, a legendary outlaw. But was he really that badass? Or just a product of Wild West marketing hype? Let's break down the story, from a street kid to a legend that might not be as wild as the tales say. His real name was Henry McCarty, born in 1859 in New York to an Irish Catholic family. His parents were Patrick McCarty and Catherine Devine. After his father died, the family moved to Indiana, then to Kansas with a man named William Antrim. His mother married Antrim in New Mexico in 1873. They later moved to Silver City, where she died of tuberculosis on September 16, 1874. McCarty became an orphan at the age of 14. His first arrest was for stealing food at age 16 in late 1875. Later, he helped a local street hustler known as Sombrero Jack steal clothes from a Chinese laundry. The crime only carried a light sentence, but instead of serving his time, the skinny young man escaped from jail by swinging up through the chimney. McCarty then left town and began a career as a roaming ranch hand, gambler, and gang member. He became skilled with a Winchester rifle and a Colt revolver, and in August 1877, he killed his first man during a dispute in a bar in Arizona. He later adopted the name William H. Bonney and became known as Billy the Kid. Billy first gained his reputation as a sharpshooter in 1878 when he took part in a bloody frontier war in Lincoln County, New Mexico. The conflict centered around a business rivalry between English-born rancher John Tunstall and a pair of Irish tycoons named James Dolan and Lawrence Murphy, known as the House, who had long held a monopoly over the dry goods and cattle trade in Lincoln County. When they tried to intimidate Tunstall's new operation, the Englishmen enlisted McCarty and several other armed men to protect his property. Tensions finally came to a head in February 1878 when Tunstall was killed by a posse organized by Sheriff William Brady, a supporter of the House. After Tunstall's death, McCarty and several former employees formed a vigilante group called the Regulators and swore to take revenge. In what later became known as the Lincoln County War, the Regulators killed Sheriff Brady and spent the next several months in shootouts with the House's forces. In July 1878, the conflict reached its climax with a deadly 5-day gunfight in the town of Lincoln, after which the Regulators disbanded and both sides signed a fragile peace agreement. Billy the Kid emerged from the war with a reputation as one of the most skilled gunmen in the West, but he remained a wanted man for the murder of Sheriff Brady. Billy the Kid's fame grew in December 1880, when the Las Vegas Gazette in Las Vegas, New Mexico, and the Sun in New York City published stories about his crimes. Sheriff Pat Garrett, a friend of Billy's, captured him at the end of that month. In April 1881, Billy was tried and convicted for the murder of Brady and was sentenced to hang in May of that year. But Billy escaped from jail on April 28th, killing 2 deputy sheriffs in the process and remaining a fugitive for more than 2 months. Garrett tracked down and shot Billy, who was 21 years old at the time, in Fort Sumner on July 14, 1881. There was no dramatic duel, no slow motion. He was shot in secret. Over the following decades, legends spread that McCarty had survived, and several men came forward claiming to be him. The story of Billy the Kid has been told in countless Hollywood films, video games, and novels, often dramatized and exaggerated. Billy the Kid wasn't a Robin Hood. He wasn't a cold-blooded killer. He was just a troubled teenager who ran away a lot and got caught up in sensational headlines. The myth lives on because people love a dramatic story. But the truth? Billy's life was full of running, poverty, and, let's be honest, a bit of heartbreak. Maybe that's the lesson from Billy. Sometimes fame doesn't come from greatness, but from the hype. If you like stories like this, history that's a bit chaotic but totally real, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Billy wasn't the kid, he was the clickbait. See you in the next weird piece of history.